guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the first video in the first series on this channel. And lately I've been really into cryptid creatures, so I decided to do a cryptid series. So every Friday in the month of May, I'm going to be posting a video about a different cryptid creature. For those of you who may not know what a cryptid is, it is basically a creature that kind of has a paranormal, freaky feel to it, and these creatures can't be proven to be real, but they also can't be proven to be fake. And so a very good example of a popular cryptid creature would be Bigfoot or Mothman. Some animals that we know today were actually a cryptid creature at one time or another. These including giant squids, pelicans, and water deer. And actually, I didn't know that a water deer was a real thing until I started looking into the cryptid and then realized that it is not actually called a vampire deer, it is called a water deer, and they actually do exist. This particular video is about the lizard man of Scape or swamp, and what is interesting about this video is a lot of cryptids date back hundreds of years, but this cryptid is actually fairly new. It was summer in Lee County, South Carolina, and Christopher Davis had just started a new job for the summer where this job kept him very late hours into the night and very early hours into the morning. On the night of June 29th, 1988, Christopher Davis was not able to leave work until 2 a.m. Unfortunately for Christopher, on this particular night, he had a flat tire and had to pull over, and the area in which he pulled over in front of was actually the area in front of Scape or swamp. Now, there was no reason at this time for Christopher to be alarmed or worried about pulling over in front of the swamp, so he did so and then changed his tire. While Christopher was working on his car, he heard a sound from behind him coming from inside the swamp, and when Christopher turned around, he saw something with red glowing eyes about 25 miles away from him. Christopher was understandably shaken by this creature, and he was very scared and dove into his car and began to drive away. But this creature ran at him and dove onto the roof of the car and began violently shaking the car and hissing and scratching at the roof. Christopher Davis purposely drove, swerving all over the road, and eventually this helped him to lose the creature. When Christopher got home, he was so scared and traumatized by this, he had told his parents about the attack. And they had come out to inspect the car, and the car had cuts and damage all over it that corresponded with what Chris had encountered, including deep scratches in the roof. After Christopher had talked to his parents, the Davis family had decided to keep this encounter to themselves because they said that it sounded crazy and unbelievable. And I don't even know what I would do in a situation if a big, huge, lizard-looking man came and jumped on top of my car. I would completely freak out. I would probably crash. I cannot imagine what this guy was going through at that time. And to just keep it to myself, knowing me, I probably wouldn't be able to do that. I would want to blab this information to everyone. But the Davis family had only kept the information about the attack to themselves for a short period of time, because just a week after Christopher had been attacked by this creature, there was a write-up in the newspaper about a car that had been attacked while it was parked by Scape or swamp, and it was attacked by an unidentified creature. And after reading this, Christopher's father had really encouraged him to go to talk to somebody about this and report it to the police. On July 16th, 1988 is when Christopher Davis decided to finally go to the police and tell them about his encounter. He described the creature as being 7 feet tall and walking on 2 legs. He also said that the creature had 3 long claw-like black fingers and had scales covering its whole entire body as well as 2 red glowing eyes. After this, many reports had come into police about people's cars being attacked by this lizard man. And it was always cars that were parked within a 3-mile radius of Scape or swamp, and most of the damage to the cars was really similar to the damage that Christopher's car had undergone. It turned out that on July 14th, there had actually been a report from some residents in the Browntown community. Tom and Mary had phoned the police because their car had been chewed and clawed apart. And at this time it had come out that multiple residents of the Browntown community had actually seen a creature that they described as being a 7-foot-tall lizard man and was either covered in green or brown scales. Police had started taking in these reports with skepticism, and eventually they started to blame the attacks on a large bear that people were misidentifying as a lizard man. Although this theory wasn't popular in the community, as people were very sure that this was not a bear and it didn't resemble a bear at all, so they didn't know how the police had come to this conclusion. Just 2 weeks after Christopher Davis's encounter with this creature, they found footprints near the scene that were unidentifiable. These footprints had 3 claw-like toes and were 14 inches in length. Molds were done of these prints and they still exist somewhere today. Because of this, Scape or swamp began to become a very busy tourist attraction for people trying to sight the lizard man. A radio station at the time, known as WCOS, actually offered a reward for anybody who could get a picture with or of the Lizard Man. And this caused absolute mayhem all over the area around Scape or Swamp. In August of 1988, a man by the name of Kenneth Orr had actually phoned into police and told them that he had shot the Lizard Man. When police arrived at the scene, there was no Lizard Man to be found, and Kenneth was actually charged with unlawfully carrying a pistol. These reports had actually died down for quite a while, but in 2002, people started to phone into police again to report that they had seen the Lizard Man in both Lee County as well as Browntown community. In 2005, a woman had actually reported seeing not one, but 2 lizard men in the area around her home. In 2008, police were called to the Rawson family home. When they arrived at the Rawson family home, they found that their car had been severely damaged. And in fact, these damages of the Rawson family car had matched up with the damage on Christopher Davis's car in 1988.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
Bob Rawson looks down at the blood on his van. All the
Literally bit. And you can feel it underneath where he's bit right straight through here.
Who he is a point of renewed debate in these parts. Some sure they know the only creature capable of this kind of damage.
They say it's the Lizard Man.
Not only that, but 6 of the Rawson's 20 cats were actually missing. And the police had tried to chalk this up to coyotes, but there was actually a mutilated coyote body found in a field near the Rawson's home. And this just doesn't add up because coyotes aren't the type of creatures that would turn on their own. They usually protect themselves and their family, and they travel in packs. So it is really rare to see a mutilated coyote off by itself. And coyotes also wouldn't attack their own. They wouldn't attack another coyote. Many scientists have tried to debunk this theory and say that there is no possible way that this creature exists. But they just can't, because there are so many questions about this creature that can't be answered and so many things about this creature that can't be explained. And as it turns out, this Lizard Man is actually scientifically possible. People assume that the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp is half man and half lizard because he walks on his hind legs. But there's actually 50 different species of lizards all over the world that walk on their hind legs. And some of them can even walk like this along the surface of the top of water. And some of them can even run like this, and it doesn't seem to slow them down. The largest lizard known to man is actually the kimono dragon, and they can be up to 10 feet long, weighing at 150 pounds. So I personally think that it is possible that the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp is just a lizard that hasn't been discovered and isn't native to that land. Although most scientists do believe that the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp is just a tale. But let me know what you guys think of the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp down below. Do you think that it is just a tale, or do you think that it is possible that this creature is real? I would really like to know your opinion on it. But please don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and I'll see you guys on Monday for another mystery video and next Friday for another cryptid video similar to this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye guys!